And we're live!
Hello and welcome to another live demonstration. As promised, I'm going to be doing something special. For the SAA 25th anniversary this year, which we're celebrating this year, we've introduced a new colour to the SAA watercolour range, and the colour is the silver. And this is really an exciting colour. So with any colour, I have a play with it. Silver's slightly different because it's not just a silver colour, it can be mixed and create those lovely shimmery colours as well. So normal work, see how it overlays, see how it drops in and how maybe the heavier pigment moves when it's wet in wet. I've mixed it with the colour there, and I wanted to see how mixing it with the colour works. I don't know if you can see, but if I move this, you might be able to actually see the sparkle you get from the silver.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, so again, mixed with red, mixed with blue. I've mixed down here with green, mixed with black. I just want to see which colours and how they mix. So it does tone down the colour, but it adds that lovely sparkle. Again, overlaying darker colours, reds, greens. Again, drop in, see how they drop in with different colours. All these are just little tests, but it helps you understand the product. This one was the silver, neat, and then dropping colours into it. The swatch of colour, so you can see all the potential strengths of silver. So I'm personally quite excited about the silver colour, and it works really nicely with our 25th anniversary. So what I'm going to do is, you can see here how well it works on white watercolour paper. It's a watercolour. I can lift it back just the same way as you would do any other watercolour. But it also works really nicely on black. Now, you don't often get black watercolour paper. In fact, I don't think you do get black watercolour paper. What you can do is you can use a watercolour ground and prepare a surface which then will accept watercolour. Or what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, this is mount board, or in America it's called matte board. Black, so it's acid free, it's archival, it's a solid base, and it will take this watercolour, the silver, really nicely. So let me put some into my palette, and you can see there, Gary gets a close-up, how lovely that is. So what I'm going to do, because Gary likes alliteration, is a stunning silver Stork. I don't think, if I hadn't to put something with an S in, he would have liked that, because it doesn't work. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use it the same way as I would a watercolour, one colour, and because you've got the black areas, I'll just use those for the eye and some of these black feathers, and just not paint. Again, it's what you leave out is just as useful as what you put in. So I think once I start painting, you'll just see how lovely this silver is. Just going to pop on and work around the eye, because I could just leave that black and follow the direction of the feathers. Again, leaving and not make it one solid colour, just to show a little bit more definition. What I'm going to do is just try and see if I can do a much thinner tone, because I know I can go in quite strongly at the end, but I just want to see how many tones I can get from this one silver. May not be tones exactly, it may be much more how thick or thin, and how much of the black will shine through. Yeah. So I'm just indicating the beak there, because a stork has an orange beak, but we're doing it in silver and black. Gary's taken my board down, so I can't show you the shimmer, but you saw it on the board previously. So using the brush,
I get the blame for everything.
because you've taken my board down again. I think he has to keep up with me, because I will move it around a lot. So it's self-preservation. So you can see that I'm using this brush, just one brush, one colour again. You often see me use keep it simple and not overwhelm, because you don't always need to. I think learning the product and finding ways of using it is just as much fun. Now, from the picture, I can see the light is touching this side, so I'm just going to strengthen up the silver just to make this side the shiniest, or the strongest I can make it with this silver. It's a transparent colour, so what it's doing is still allowing the black of the board to come through, and I'm going to use that when it comes to creating the form. So I can re-wet, because it's a watercolour, use my brush to create the feather shape. Because the light's hitting just there and there, I don't want this to be the strong area just yet. And I want to vary my brush marks. So here I can see this needs to be a lot stronger. And I can work back in, I can go back and revisit. So this is almost pretty neat silver. I do love these silver brushes. You can make all these lovely marks without any effort at all. Trying to vary the tone a little bit. It's more difficult for me to see without stepping back than it possibly is for you. Gary's probably catching it in the camera. I've got quite flat light, so I'm kind of having to guess a little bit. So bigger feathers across the back. Just use the whole of the brush, bring out those, and you'll see smaller feathers on the head. I feel they're going all in one direction, so I just want to break that up a little bit. And then nice big strokes to pick up these much bigger feathers on the wing. And you can layer, just bring out some detail. Okay. What I can do is come back into this, but you can see how the brush marks are actually creating the shape of feathers. So under here is actually darker, so I want quite a wet solution just to add shimmer, but not the strength of colour. Just take off some of the colour from my brush. The lovely thing about this silver is no matter how wet you get it, you still pick up some of the shimmer. So the little flakes are still evident. So light's catching here, so stronger. Again, I'm darting around a bit because I'm just thinking about where my lights and darks are. And as you haven't got a huge tonal range, I'm just putting my lights on.
What makes the paint shiny, Anita?
What makes the paint shiny is it's got aluminium in. And I know why Gary asked me that, because he knows I don't like saying aluminium.
Aluminium.
Aluminium. Or I could say it the American way, aluminum, and that's much easier. So yeah, it's got aluminium in, and that's what makes it's an aluminium pigment, and that's what makes the sparkle. So thank you, Gary.
You're welcome. I'm sure people wanted to know.
Yes, no, that's fine, but I hadn't practiced saying aluminium. So there you go, white feathers, but there are black feathers there, which are already painted for me because I'm using a black board. So there's not much I need to do, just leave them. I might do on this one, it has a little bit of shimmer. So I don't want it just a solid black at the moment. There will be areas of solid black, but even the black feathers catch the light. Nice white. So I'm coming on to using the black feathers. So how am I going to paint black feathers? Don't need to do much, they're already done for me. I'm just going to use the tip of the brush, very sketchy fashion, and bring out a few suggestions of these lovely long black feathers. There's one big feather here, which is quite nice to do. It's got a... So that is just catching the light. So as weak as I can get this, I'm going to just see if I can indicate that there's a bit of sparkle on the top of this black feather. So you can see how light I can pick up the blacks. This one. So there's a darker area again under here. So really weak, and that should pick up. What I'm going to do now is just, I'll finish the feet first. Again, I'm not going to do the whole of the feet, I'm just going to indicate, as I often say, it's what you leave out can be just as effective as what you put in. So all I'm doing is moving the existing colour already on this board. Nice, just make that less stick-like. Love the knobbly knees. So I'm going to do, just going to review and come back with really much neater silver. You can see how thickly I can put it on. And I'm just trying to give a little bit more light. Really loading up the tip of my brush, and you can see here now I can bring up a little bit more light, which I've lost down here. It's a transparent colour, like I said before, so layering will work on some levels, but it's picking up the silver underneath, but it won't be a strong in your face kind of. It's not like opaque white, because that's opaque, it's not transparent, it doesn't allow the colour underneath to shine through, and as the colour underneath here is black, it's going to take quite a bit of layering, but I think that's all part of the characteristic of the paint. Okay. Don't want to keep filling too much because I think this is working. There's a few areas which they're not touching each other, so there's a bit too much of a halo at the moment. That's something you do have to watch, is just to make sure everything fits as a whole. Maybe exaggerate these feathers a bit more. If I step back, I want to put some more strength into the back, and then I think I'm pretty much finished. Don't want to lose the luminosity that I'm getting. A little bit more there. Bring it round. I think that works for me. So you can see, I can't show you the sparkle, like I said, Gary's taped me down, but I can see how even very wet the silver has still got that sparkle characteristic. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you get the opportunity to try this new colour in the SAA range. So join me next week for another live demonstration.